Today's lesson is going to cover some word problems, and specifically we're going to be focusing on working backwards when faced with a difficult word problem, a time-based word problem. So we're going to start with this problem up here. It says between 6 and 7 a.m. the temperature rose 6 degrees. Between 7 and 8 the temperature rose 3 degrees. If the temperature at 8 is 73 degrees, what was the temperature at 6? Now, this seems really confusing. There's a lot of numbers up here and a lot of units, but it's very, very simple. So we're gonna do what I like to do best, which is draw a picture. Now, we wanna look for the solid information that we have, that we are guaranteed. So if we look here, it says the temperature between 6 and 7 rose 6 degrees. Now, my big question is, rose from what? We don't know where it started, so we don't have anywhere to go from there. Between 7 and 8, the temperature rose 3 degrees. Again, that's great, but I have no idea where it's coming from. It could have been 30 degrees, it could have been 70 degrees. So it doesn't really help me. If the temperature at 8 is 73 degrees, that's my solid place. That's where I want to start from, right there. So I have 73 degrees at 8 o'clock. So because we're working backwards and that's the end of my problem, I'm gonna write it over here and we're gonna work ourselves backwards. So I'm gonna put a little box right here. And this is at 8 a.m. and it is 73, and I'll use my little degrees sign there. Now, we're gonna continue to go back through my problem. So between 7 a.m. and 8 a.m., the temperature rose 3 degrees plus 3. So between 7 and 8, the temperature went up 3 degrees. So if I'm working backwards, that means I'm actually going to subtract. So I'm going to go 73 minus, let me use a different color for this because I'm working backwards, minus 3 degrees is going to give me 70 degrees. So at 7 a.m. it was 70 degrees, and that works well with my problem that at 8 a.m. it was 73 degrees. Let's continue working backwards. At 6 a.m. we still don't know what the temperature was, but we do know between 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. the temperature rose 6 degrees, so plus 6. So it went from something plus 6 equals 70. So now I'm going to work backwards again. And instead of adding 6 this time, I'm going to subtract 6. So 70 minus 6 is going to give me 64 degrees. So the temperature at 6 a.m., what was the temperature at 6 a.m., started at 64 degrees. This is how all the problems for today are going to look. You're definitely going to want to draw some pictures and some illustrations for these. They can get kind of wordy and there's gonna be a lot of units in there, but if you take some time to think about it, draw it out, I promise you'll be successful. At this point, I'd like you to go ahead and start the reteaching and the practice and see how you can do on your own. If you get stuck, I'm gonna do number 1 from the practice page up on the board right now. So go ahead and get started, and if you get stuck, come back here for some help with practice problem number 1. If you jump back in, it's because you were having difficulty with practice problem number 1, so we're going to go ahead and do that together. The question asks about Travis's class, and it says at the end of the year, Travis's class had 21 students in it. So this is the end of the year, so we're going to put it at the end there, and we're going to work our way backwards. Let's jump to the beginning of the year, because we don't know how many students he had, but we know how many moved around. So I'm going to put a box right here, and we're going to work our way towards that 21. So it says that during the year, 4 new students joined his class. So he had some number of students plus 4. And that gave him something there. It also says that it says that 2 moved away. So we got minus 2. And the last one says 1 student was transferred to another 4th grade class. So minus 1. So we have 21, and then if we work ourselves backwards, we should be able to figure out this whole problem relatively simply. So instead of subtracting 1, because we're going this way, we have to add that student back in. So since we're going backwards, we're going to do plus 1, and that means that at one point they had 22 students in the class. Same with the subtracting 2, 2 students moved away, we're going to bring those students back, plus 2, 24, and then they got 4 new students. So we're going to take those students away to find out exactly how many they started the year with. So instead of adding 4, we're going to subtract 4, and that's going to give us our original starting number. Travis's class started with 20 students in the class.